Hello, my name's Ian Seeger from Flyer Magazine, and just before Christmas we heard that Cirrus were going to be announcing the G7 model in January. In fact, today, if you're watching this on the 11th or 12th, depending on which time zone you're in. Anyway, we got in touch with Cirrus, and product director Ivy McIver gave us a kind of remote video walkthrough of all of the new features that you'll find on the G7. So hope you enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Ivy McIver from Cirrus Aircraft, and we could not be more thrilled to welcome Ian Seeger and Thomas Borchert to the ramp here at our secret hangar in Knoxville, Tennessee, ready to show you guys for the very first time the Cirrus Aircraft SR Series G7. Are you guys there? Thomas?
Hey, Ivy.
Yeah.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello, welcome, you guys. Well, I'm super excited to have you join us. I am a little sad that you couldn't be here in person, but I am super excited to show you the G7. Are you guys ready to take a look?
Absolutely.
Totally.
All right, let's do it. So a couple things before, right behind me, you will see one of the very first G7s ever to come off the production line. We've been flying it for a couple of months now. We've got about 100 hours on it. And we are ready to show this thing to the world. High level, most of the changes that you'll see are on the inside, but we do have a brand new colorway and aesthetics design package for the outside. But really what I want to show you is the inside. So follow me. So the first thing that you're going to notice is this amazing flight deck. We spent a ton of time trying to figure out how to continue to align the VisionJet platform with the SR platform. And really the big thing that was discontinuous in those two platforms was the flight deck. So we've brought this jet class avionics suite into the SR series. You'll see we've got huge high resolution widescreen displays. So these are the exact same displays that are in the VisionJet. We've got 14 inches of screen real estate here. And then our controls, you'll notice we've gotten rid of almost all of the buttons in here and replaced the entire center stack with these two Garmin touchscreen controllers. So they're the same GTCs that you've got in the VisionJet. Everything is at a top level in the menu. So it's a really shallow menu structure, really familiar icons, very easy to navigate through the avionics system. So with these huge displays, I can actually split the screens. So I can split the MFT here, I can split the PFT here, and I can really display a wide variety of things on all of this screen real estate. So checklist right here on the PFD. You'll also notice this 3D view of the airport. So that's my kind of an exocentric view of the airplane. I've got this 3D safe taxi, and I can kind of see from outside the airplane my airport environment. As soon as I take the runway, that will zoom into a pilot point of view, just like you see now in the current avionics suite. I can navigate through these checklists really easily with this checklist scroll wheel. So before engines start, I can kind of just click this button and go through my checklist. And then when I'm done with the checklist, I can just go back to a full screen PFD. We've also integrated the systems in a much deeper way. We've simplified the bolster panel here, removed some of the switches, so we don't have an avionics switch, we don't have a nav light switch. We've moved the oxygen switch up into the bolster panel. We've integrated the flap system into the avionics, so you really get a much deeper integration here and a much more simplified interface with the flight deck. So what you'll notice on the engine strip is our fuel gauges here. There's a little box around the right-hand fuel tank. It's pulling from the right-hand side. What we're introducing in the G7 is automatic fuel switching. So no more switching back and forth between the tanks. If I come down here to my fuel selector system and open the cover, I go into manual mode. That works just like the current airplane. But when I go ahead and close this lid, I go into automatic mode, and that switches every 5 gallons.
So there's actually an electric motor that turns the fuel knob, or how does that work?
Yes. So in the fuel selector system, there's actually a motor that's moving the fuel selector from one side to the other. I've got my fuel and engine synoptic page up here on the MFD, and I can actually see the fuel valve is turned in the position where it's pulling from the left hand or from the right hand tank. If I come over to and switch this to manual mode, you'll see that fuel valve switch. Now it's coming from the left hand side. It's on manual mode, and then when I shut the door, it's now on auto mode. And every 5 gallons, it will actually move the fuel selector from one side to the other.
So you can't you can't see the fuel switch move when you have the door closed, and it only moves automatically when you have the door closed.
That's correct. When the door is closed, you can see it on the synoptic page, but you wouldn't see it on the you wouldn't see it physically because the door covers it.
I noticed something really interesting to the left of the PFD. Can you expand on that?
Yes. So we've taken away the keys. So you now have a push button start. No keys. It's very seamless. Another thing that you'll notice that you can't see is the new lightweight smart battery. So we've now got a lightweight smart battery. We actually took 20 pounds out of the battery. That battery is higher power. It monitors its temperature, and it makes hot starts and cold starts super, super easy.
So where do you put the key?
You have a remote opening thingy anyway,
That's
right? A key fob.
So all you really need to take with you is your key fob, because you unlock it with you unlock the door with your key fob. That unlocks the doors and the baggage compartment. You don't need a key to your baggage compartment, and then you hop in. You put your key fob in your pocket, and then you turn the engine knob to both and hit the button. Engine started. So you can keep all your keys kind of stowed away.
So that the coaming looks like it's from here, from this angle. It looks like the coaming is lower than it was before.
Everything in the entire cabin has been redesigned. So you'll notice that this bolster panel is completely redesigned. There's no backup gauges here. The climate control has been moved right into the center. So you've just got a nice, cleaner panel design. We've actually lowered the glare shield by a couple of inches and pushed it a little bit forward. So you'll notice there's a lot more room in here. So if I move my seat to my normal flying position, I just have tons of real estate here, tons of knee room, and the visibility over the glare shield is such that even very short Ivy can see over the glare shield and see the entire cowling when I'm landing. It is made for some buttery smooth landings. Back to the flight deck, you've got this lovely home screen with all of your all of your services and all of your top level menu functions here at the touch of a button. So in turn, I can just just like your tablet or just like your phone, touchscreen my way around here. So if I go to my map selection, I can change that to my VFR sectional. I can look at my IFR sectional. I can go back home and change that to the map. I can look at my traffic screen. I can split the screen and look at traffic. I can put weather on the other screen. I can select my weather. There's all my different things that I can overlay on my weather. I can throw charts up here. I'm just going to set that up there. So I've got charts. I can put my charts in here. I can also split my PFD over here. And I can put charts up here, which is pretty sweet, because I'm going to fly like this. And if I use my checklist scroll wheel, I can get right to my checklist, and I can toggle back and forth between my checklist and my charts. So it is very, very similar to the VisionJet flight deck. I can enter my flight plan right in here. I can add my waypoints just with the touch of a button. So I can just add SRQ in there. Add that right into my flight plan. I can load my procedures right from here. Very easy to load a procedure. Just load that there. kind of basically everything you need is right here. Services wise, waypoint wise, I can go and check out my airport. Here's my airport in Knoxville. If I look at the airport directly, I can make a call straight from here. I can call all my FBOs and whatever ground support I need straight from here using the Iridium phone, the Global Connect. Music wise, I can come on over here, scroll through whatever music I'm looking for. I can also Bluetooth my phone, grab my tunes from my phone. The distribution of the audio is also super simple. I can just come up to the intercom. I can isolate the co-pilot and the passengers. I can isolate just me and the co-pilot, and then I can change my volume right from here. So it's all very easy to navigate. What I've actually found is the transition from the G6 to the G7 has been very simple. Most people take, a flight or two, and they are a wizard with the avionics, which is awesome. I'm going to pause and see if you guys have questions.
What's the in terms of redundancy? How does that work?
Yep. So you've still got dual ADAHRs, dual ADCs. If I come over to my utilities, there's all my sensors here, my position sensors.
So you've got the reversionary mode on the big screens, and then I'm guessing you've got some kind of reversionary mode on the two touch screens as well.
Right. So if I hit reversionary mode, this first GTC turns into my backup attitude indicator, and then this turns into basically my mode controller for the MFD, the PFD, or my NavCom. So I can come up here and display the map over here. I can display charts over here.
So the backup AI is basically hidden in a way. It only activates with the reversionary mode.
Yep, exactly.
Got it. Can you explain the center panel below the two touch screens?
The center panel below the shoe system. Yes.
So what's that control down there?
So you've got basically your two touchscreen controllers, and then you've got your autopilot controller. So it's just moved down a little bit. It's in the exact same spot that it is in the Vision Jet. And then here you've got a little storage cupboard for your sunglasses, for your phone. There's two USB chargers in here in the cubby. So that kind of helps with cord management and kind of like keeps everything tucked away. You've also got two USB-C plugs in the back, one on each side. So you've got 4 total USB-C plugs close to where everyone is and easier accessibility for the pilot and the passenger. And then as we move down, the environmental controls have come down to the middle here. The boost pump and the flap switch are all right here within easy reach. And then kind of moving back, you've got the same throttle that's in the jet, or the same power lever that's in the jet. So it feels the exact same when you're moving back and forth between the SR and the jet. And then as we sort of move back, we've redesigned the console. And you've essentially got a little bit more on-purpose storage. So I'll kind of move over a little bit. This is where you'll plug in your front seat passenger headset. And there's a little cubby for your battery box. So that's kind of like up here and out of the way. And you'll see when you close the lid, there's no need to like route the wires in a weird way. You can kind of tuck everything in here. And then you've got just a nicer, bigger storage pocket in the center console here.
So you mentioned earlier that the flaps were integrated into the avionics. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So we now have flaps airspeed protection. And what that does is if you're above 150 knots, it's not going to let you put the flaps down. So even if you switch the flaps down, it's smart enough to know that the plane's going too fast to deploy the flaps, so it won't let the flaps come down. On the low speed side of things, if you've got the flaps deployed all the way, or even at 50%, if you're too low of a speed and you try to retract the flaps, it will keep the flaps down. So on the high end, it's protecting the plane. On the low end, it's protecting you.
So this new setup is the same for all the SRs? So for the 20, the 22, and the 22T?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 screen sizes that you can choose from. The base screens are 12 inches. and the upgraded screens are 14 inches. But either one of those screen sizes is available for the 20, the 22, and the 22T. And basically, the flight deck, the flight deck is all of the options on the flight deck are available to the 20, the 22, and the 22T. Obviously, things like ice protection is not available in the 20. The yaw damper isn't available in the 20. But, you know, as far as the flight deck is concerned, you can get this exact same flight deck in all three models.
What's the stuff where the caps handle is? Is there a cover anymore? Is the caps handle?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm gonna get out so that you guys can kind of see a little bit more inside the cabin. So if you take a look at the very top of the cabin, we've sort of incorporated this surfboard that is really, really similar to the Vision Jet. One of the arguably like core DNA of the Cirrus, and something that was incorporated into every single Cirrus that we've ever produced is the airframe parachute. And up to now in the SR, it's sort of been hidden. So we really took this opportunity to showcase the caps handle, showcase the parachute. There's no cover over it. There's still a pin, obviously. But all of the placards are on the surfboard. One thing that you'll sort of notice in the flight deck itself and in the bolster panel is the fact that it's super clean looking, right? So we've incorporated the placards into the avionics. So they're all digital. Any placards that are for caps and above here are sort of permanently affixed, and it just gives it a nice cleaner look. But we've also kind of taken the opportunity to incorporate the task lights, the oxygen manifolds, the rear task lights, the caps handle, and just kind of bring it into this streamlined fashion. We've also minimized a lot of the seams in terms of the panels. So it's just a tighter fit and finish, a cleaner look, more on-purpose storage, some new seat cover designs. You'll kind of notice that there's new designs for the G7. And then, Oscar, if you want to kind of take a look right here, there is a little control panel back there, and that's got the USB port and the headset jack for each of the rear passengers. So the cord, you don't have cords crisscrossing the cabin anymore. Everything is kind of cord managed. And then back here, where the cup holders are, we've got kind of the much more robust cup holders there, an on-purpose pocket for your TOH. The carpets are molded to the floor, so it's a little bit cleaner look.
What does all that do to the empty weight of the aircraft?
That is a great question. We've lost a couple pounds. So we basically were able to reduce the weight kind of between 20 and 25 pounds. Each airplane is just a little bit different, and it kind of depends on the configuration of the airplane. But yeah, we've made the plane about 20 to 25 pounds lighter.
And these are basically. Have you finished Have you finished manufacturing the G6 now, and you're only manufacturing G7s? Or?
Yep. For 2024, we've made a complete cutover to the G7. So any 2024 airplane will be a Generation 7.
So everyone who's got a delivery slot for 2024 will get a G7.
That is correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Has the handle mechanism on the door changed at all?
It has, actually. It's a little wider, so it's easier to operate, but actually the armrest itself is sort of a little bit more seamless. It's a little wider. It's a little more comfortable.
Did the flight controls change at all? So the side yoke, if you will?
Yep, great question. So the yoke is actually a different shape. The buttons are in a slightly different spot, and if you want to move the camera over to the yoke, you can kind of see the buttons are in a different spot, but you've got all of the same functionality. So you've got your push to talk, your autopilot disconnect, and your trim. But it's a little bit more ergonomic shape, and it's actually a kind of a more jet-like shape. So it much more closely resembles the yoke in the jet.
Now, especially sorry, Ian, if I barge in all the time.
Go for it.
For us Europeans, one of the big questions is, of course, around AFGAS, more so than for the US pilots. So are there any changes to engine options?
So the engine for the G7 is the same. We are keenly aware of the avgas issues, and there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in terms of exploring different options and exploring kind of future projects and things like that. But for G7, we've got the same power plants that we have for G6.
Ian, I think we've covered most of it, haven't we?
I think we have covered most of it. Effectively, the big news is the avionics change, and then the inside has been completely redesigned.
I think like really the two things are the flight deck, like the avionics change and the cabin redesign. Those are kind of like the two flagship things that are going on.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to going flying with you, Ivy. So
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast when we fly it together. I can't wait to bring it over and show you.
Hope you enjoyed that. Keep your eyes open for an upcoming flight test.